What is up, ninjas? Kevin David with That Lifestyle Ninja, and today we are going to go over exactly how to build a huge Instagram following, and more importantly, how to build a passionate and engaged Instagram following, and then how to leverage that Instagram following into making a ton of money. So this is going to be a good one, guys. Don't even think about closing that window. What is up, everyone? So today we are going to talk about Instagram. More specifically, we are going to talk about how to make money on Instagram, right? So we all kind of see those huge accounts out there that have, hundreds of thousands or even millions of followers, and they're talking about all the money that they make with those accounts. So we are going to go over exactly how to build an account on Instagram, and we are going to go over exactly how people are making money on Instagram, right? Because as everyone knows, the more followers you have, especially the more passionate and engaged followers that you have, the more money you can make and the easier it is to make that money, right? So Instagram has about 700 million active monthly users at the time of making this video. According to social media company LocalWise, Instagram actually has the highest engagement of the audience compared to all other social networking, right? And so the reason for that is because Instagram is so visual. That is why people, brands can establish such strong relationships with their actual customers on Instagram because it's all visual, right? And as we know, a picture is worth 1,000 words and videos are worth more, right? Especially my YouTube videos. And so let's get into it exactly pragmatically, right? Actionable tips that we are going to use right now, whether or not you have any Instagram, right? Even if you don't have an account, or if you have an account right now with 1,000 followers or 1 follower or 1,000,000 followers, it doesn't matter, right? Because all of these things that we're going to go through today apply to every Instagram account and how to build real engaged followers, right? So the first thing that we're going to talk about is how to get followers, right? And how you do that, especially now that all the bots have been shut down, right? So the people who've been around for a while knew about Instagram and some of the automation services. They still do exist, but they're much less common. I always would recommend to actually, build your audience from scratch, do it the right way, and you will eventually get paid off for doing it the way it was meant to be done. So we are going to start off by going to a successful page, right? So we're going to use the niche entrepreneurship just for example, and we're also going to use the web browser, but these things do hold true whether or not you're using the app or the web browser. So we're going to search entrepreneurship. As we can see, there's 5 million, and change posts about entrepreneurship. And so if we look at this and we hover over some, we can start to see some things, right? So we see 12,000 likes, 80 comments, right? 23,000 likes. And so we're going to pick one of these that has the most likes, right? And so out of the ones we just saw, this one has 23,000 likes. So let's take a look at this person's page. So one of the cool things that you can do to get followers, especially when you're starting out, is looking at pages that kind of have already done it, right? So whether or not you're an entrepreneur, I'm just using entrepreneurship, the niche, as an example. If you're selling cat products, or maybe you're selling water bottles, or you're trying to build a health and fitness blog, right? That would be your specific niche. And so instead of searching for entrepreneurship, you'd search for cat, right? Or you could even do #cat, and then you can actually see the most popular terms, and you'd follow the same pathway. But for example, we're going to use entrepreneurship for this example. So for this post right here, we can see a few things. You can see, right, who is actually commenting on this post. And the cool thing about that is if you're building an account for entrepreneurship, we can open up all of these different people because we can see, right? Well said, sir. Hell yeah, looking good, right? Absolutely fire. The people who are into this person's post, right? And if they're interested in this person's post, they probably are interested in entrepreneurship as well, and they're following him for a reason, right? And so what we can do now is go to these different people who we see commenting, right? We see that they're active on his page, and we can go ahead and follow them and like their content. Because when we follow and like their content, right, the law of reciprocation is so real on Instagram. And I know it, maybe if you've never used Instagram before, you might say, hey, well, just because if I follow someone, why would they follow me back? But just trust me, guys, go out there and try it because it works. Follow people, like their stuff, comment on it, right? Especially if you're actually interested, right? This girl's very beautiful. She's obviously trying to, build a fitness type of following, right? And so be genuinely interested in these people and comment like, wow, that looks like a great exercise, or whatever the case may be. And the more people that you interact with naturally and follow, right, they're going to see you follow them, they're going to follow you back, right, and you're going to start to build more and more people that way. And another little trick that I like to do is, go onto people's posts and you can actually sort these by the time that people are commenting, right? Because you want to follow people and engage with their content when you're most sure that they're actually online, right? So if you are commenting and liking these people's posts on the most engagement, or excuse me, on the most related content, right? So I'm into entrepreneurship, this is entrepreneurship, so I'm going to his posts and I'm going to comment and like on the people's comments. I'm going to go to their pages, I'm going to comment and like all of their stuff, and I'm going to do it based on the people who commented on this post most recently, because it's most likely that they're still online, still on Instagram, and then they're going to check out my page immediately, which means that I'm going to get more followers that way, right? And so another thing that you can do is, for example, let's say you're in the fitness niche, you could just go to people's pages that right? So you don't have to search, hashtag fitness. In your normal life, sometimes you have people that you see or respect in some way, and maybe you're interested in what they have to put out, and so you can just go and search their actual page, right? So like some people, for example, maybe like Ty Lopez is a popular Instagrammer for entrepreneurship. Right, and so I can go to his post. I see 409,000 views here, 16,000 comments, right? And so all of these people, and you can even go through and pick these ones out, right? Because some of them are going to be like, "F you, Ty, like you're garbage" or whatever. So like maybe they're not the person that you want to have following you. Maybe you're gonna pick out the people who seem to be, positive and people that you'd want to have a business relationship with, or at least, an online relationship in some way. Right? And so the next thing that we're going to talk about is kind of some numbers, right? So if you go and follow 100 people per day, so let's say that I'm going to go to Gary Vaynerchuk's page, or some popular entrepreneur, and I pick out 100 comments. So I open up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I follow every single one of these people, maybe like one of their photos, comment on something like that, right? So that's 100 people a day, probably takes you about 10 minutes, and let's say that you get a 50% follow back rate. Right, so that means 50 of those 100 people that you followed follow you back, and let's say that 20% or 10% of those people who follow you actually click on the link in your bio, right? So that's 5. So let's say it's 10% of people click on your link. So 100 people a day I follow, 50 of them follow back, 10% of the people who follow me back click the link in your bio, right? So 10% of 50 is 5, right? So that means that you get 5 link clicks per day, right? And when you actually make that into a monthly metric, that's 150 link clicks, right? And if you're selling a product, or you're affiliate marketing, or you have merchandise, or you're selling a digital course, for example, those numbers really start to add up. And if it takes you 10 to 15 minutes or whatever to follow and like 100 different people in that way, then if you scale that to 1,000, right, and we use those same numbers, all of a sudden you have 500 follow backs, and all of a sudden you have 50 link clicks a day, and over 30 days, right? It really starts to add up, guys. So don't underestimate it, and really don't underestimate the law of reciprocity, because if you are interested and you show interest in people, they are going to reiterate and show that interest back. And if this sounds like too much work, guys, going through manually liking 100 following and liking 100 different people's profiles and things like that, people have varying amounts of time. If you're just starting out, maybe you have a little bit more time, and if you have more of a mature business, or have a little bit less time because of other things, then maybe you don't have time to do this, right? And so there are always ways to outsource things if you have more money and less time. So never let it be a stop for you to actually go out there and actually get started, because Instagram is an incredibly powerful tool, right? And so the way that I like to kind of get over that, now that I've had a little bit more success and I don't necessarily have time, when I was first starting out, right, I would grind through every single one of these manually, and I would do it all myself, right? Because it's good to learn, first of all, and then once you kind of learn the ins and outs, then you can kind of pass it off. So one of the things that I like to do is use a website called Upwork. And so for those of you who aren't familiar with Upwork, it's an incredibly powerful tool. I have a ton of employees that I use for search engine optimization for my videos and websites. I use my graphic artists, right? All different types, all my virtual assistants I find from Upwork, right? So we can type in Instagram, and one of the cool things that you can do that maybe not as many people know about is run the filters, right? So I like to do 10,000 or more earned, just so we know that they really have an established kind of profile. Job success 90% and up. For Instagram and kind of social media, realistically, you don't need anybody who has more than a $10 rate. And for those of you who are saying $10 and below, that's really low. It's low for the United States and maybe some of the more affluent countries, but for other countries with lower standards of living, $10 and below is actually not too ridiculous. So And we see that there's still 785 people if we do 1,000 or more hours billed, right? So we're going to do 1,000 hours or more. And by clicking all of these kind of top metric or top filters, we're really going to narrow the field of quality, right? Because these people are people who've earned a lot, worked a lot, and have a very good success rating. So we can kind of know before really even getting started with these relationships that these people are quite good. So we want the last activity within 2 weeks. And it doesn't really matter whether it's independent or agency. I prefer independent for these type of things. Agency means that it's like a company, right? And you'll be dealing with a sales rep. And if you're like making software, for example, agencies might be more suitable. But for a one type of person job where they're going to be managing your social media, your Instagram, realistically we'd prefer the Instagram or the independent freelancers. So now we can kind of take a look through here. People who have, I like to look for people who have Instagram or whatever I'm searching for, right? Because we're looking for Instagram, people who can help us build our Instagram presence. I like to have it first in their bio because that means that they value what they're doing, and if it's coincides with what you're looking for niche-wise, they would put it first. That's kind of what I'm looking for here. So marketing, whether it's marketing strategist, right, experienced brand manager, so kind of whatever you're looking at, and then you can take a look at their profile really quick. We're not going to dive too much deeper into here, right, but these are, you can look into some reviews, 5-star, did everything I asked her to, right, been great to work with. So that's kind of how I find people who can take over some of these more tedious or time-consuming tasks, like building a following by reaching out to people who are in similar niches, right? So the next thing that I want to talk about is the best way to kind of replicate success and generate a successful profile the quickest is kind of to duplicate what others have already proven to work, right? And so when you see these large profiles like Gary Vee or Tai Lopez or whatever, right, then you can tell a lot of things about what is working. We see a lot of quotes here. We see some videos, right? We see a lot of different things. We see, colors. We see die on your own sword, right? Kind of these intense statements. And so one of the cool things that I like to use is an app called Command Analytics. So what this does is it basically shows you, statistics and analytics related to Instagram accounts, right? So we can see a lot of things that you wouldn't otherwise really be able to see, and they do at this time have a 7-day free trial, I believe. So you can kind of tell a lot of the things that you need to tell very quickly and for zero money. And so what I use this for mainly is to go over, very popular profiles and see what their most popular posts are, right? And so what you can tell from that is you can really see what went viral, what people are reacting to in the similar niches that you're talking about. And once you can see what their most popular posts are, and you can kind of, map that over Tai Lopez, Gary Vaynerchuk, right, Tim Ferriss, Tony Robbins, all of the people who are kind of in your niche, or if it's, health and fitness, then you do it in that niche. Once you can start to see similarities of what is really working, and then kind of angle, how you're going to approach creating your Instagram presence by using what has proven to work in the same exact category. And another thing that I want to note on really quick is that Instagram is not the best platform for direct sales, right? So people who are coming to Instagram are not browsing Instagram with a direct sales buyer mentality in mind. What I mean by that is that, if somebody goes to a Shopify store or to Amazon, right, they're doing that with a purpose to actually buy a product. With Instagram, it's more for entertainment. And so it's important not to directly sell. And what I mean by that, let's give an example. Let's go dog sweater. So if we go to dog sweater, what we see here, right, is actual dogs wearing the sweaters, right? Because if you're typing that into Shopify or Amazon or whatever like that, you might see like a dog sweater outline or just like the product itself or like a dog leash. For example, right, for all of these different products where, on Instagram, instead of showing just the product of a dog leash or whatever, I guarantee you that if you search dog leash, it would be the exact same thing. So dog sweater, instead of seeing just like the sweater and it's like a big for sale sign or something like this, right, they take a picture of like a very nice looking dog with a cool little sweater, and I can almost guarantee you that after a romp in the snow with his new sweater, yeah, shop link in bio, right? So if we look at this person's Instagram, then all of a sudden we see in their bio, right? And the bio link is your power on Instagram. So this is where your affiliate links are. This is where your merchandise, if you're selling t-shirts or jackets or whatever, this is where your Shopify link is. This is where your link to your podcast is. Whatever you're trying to promote is, the power of Instagram really lies in your bio link. So we see them and it opens up to, a Shopify store where they're selling their products. But instead of just blasting right in your face of, just the sweater and like $69.99, they kind of indirectly sell it to you with a cute dog, right? So this is a perfect example, a really adorable dog with a little hat on, right? And so they're selling a product, but they're doing it indirectly. So it's very important to know what your platform users, their mentality is. And Instagram, they're there for entertainment. They're there to see cute dogs. If they do, like the sweater that the cute dog is wearing, then maybe they're going to buy it, right? And so it's not a direct sales channel, and it's very important to kind of notate that. So let's talk about hashtags, right? So hashtags are very important. They're really how you kind of get your content out there before you do have a following, where your followers are getting a notification when you do a new post, right? And so I read that posts with at least one hashtag have a 12% higher engagement rate than posts with no hashtags. And so if you do use the full set of 30, right, because Instagram does allow you to have 30 different hashtags, then you are going to be exposing your content to so many other people. So what I like to do is generate 3 different sets of 30 hashtags. So for entrepreneurship, right, I might generate one set for motivational, I might generate one set for financial advice, and I might generate one set for something else, right? So you want to kind of hit as many of the largest volume kind of niches for whatever you're trying to target with your sets of hashtags. And so you might ask then, how do you generate these hashtags? And that is a good question, right? And so let's talk about exactly how I generate my sets of hashtags to hit the widest range of the most targeted people who are going to react to my content, right? Follow my page and, essentially click my bio link or whatever that I'm trying to actually, show them and get more eyes in front of. So Instagram actually does a lot of the work for you here. So let's say that it is entrepreneurship. We might type entrepreneur, right? And we see entrepreneur quotes, right? And then if we type the hashtag here, then we actually see the hashtags that do have the most posts with the keyword entrepreneur. So I would, open up a Word doc here, and I might type down, hashtag entrepreneurs, right? And so I might type entrepreneur and entrepreneurship, entrepreneur life. Oh, it's very hard to type that in real time. Entrepreneur life, right? And I might type all the way down to 30 different ones here, or maybe I would even do 90. But you don't want to only use this one word. So you might type, what are entrepreneurs interested in? Some people could say maybe entrepreneurs are interested in money. And so, if we scroll up here, we see Money has 25 million posts. Money Team, right, for Floyd Mayweather. What else are they interested in? Business, right? And so then we'd start to kind of put money, business, maybe it's businesswoman, if, depending on what your specific niche that you're trying to target is. Businesswoman, maybe people who want to be entrepreneurs are also interested in traveling, right? Maybe they want that entrepreneurship life so they don't have to kind of go to that 9-to-5 job that, some people do have to go to. Well, I would argue you don't have to, right? Anyone can work hard enough. That's what we're here for, right? So pay attention. Right, so traveling. So you kind of get the idea, and realistically, you can use Instagram's auto search feature to give you pretty much everything that you do need. But let's go over a few more hacks, because everyone loves a good hack. And then the last little trick that I like to use is go after some really high volume words, right? Like let's use hashtag money, for example. When we go here, we can just look at the first post. Right, and almost 10,000 likes. What we can do here, guys, is we can actually just use the hashtags that they're using, right? So as how did we find this post? We found it because we put hashtag money, right? And so if we think that this specific Instagram account might be similar to what we want to represent, then we would go ahead and replicate the use of these specific hashtags, right? And so again, the key here, guys, is to replicate success, right? If you want to be successful, take a look at what is successful for other people and create your own niche, right? Carve out your space. Use the same methods that these people are using to actually be successful, right? So hashtag money, hashtag success, hashtag goals, hashtag achieve, right? For the entrepreneurship space. And so the next thing that I want to talk about is actually using Instagram advertising to build your Instagram account, right? And so if you are using Facebook ads and you know how to use Facebook ads correctly to, target people who are interested in what you have to say and what you have to sell, right, and what you represent, then what you're going to see is people who see your Instagram ad will be interested in that advertisement, and they'll click on your account. When they click on your account, right, if you have interesting content, you have some nice entrepreneurship quotes, maybe you have some beautiful cars, maybe you have some funny entrepreneurship, right? Comedy really works very well on Instagram just because people, again, are there to be entertained. It's not a direct sales platform. So, you can use Instagram targeting to actually advertise to people, and in advertising, not only are you driving sales with those advertisements, of whatever you're advertising, but the indirect benefit of using Instagram advertising is that you are actually building a larger following that you can then retarget for free once they are, your organic follower. Right? And so if you guys are interested, I can actually make another video about the exact strategy that I actually used kind of in this way, using Instagram advertising to generate just over $330,000 in sales, in physical product sales. And if you are interested in that, I need you to do two quick things. First, I want you to join our Facebook and Instagram advertising Facebook group, where we release the best and brand newest strategies on how to advertise to generate the most profits with Facebook advertising and Instagram advertising. And I need you to do a second thing, which is leave a comment below on this video telling me that you do want to see the video on exactly how I generated $330,000 in physical product sales only using this strategy of Instagram advertising. So let's move on, guys. We are going to talk about how to get more engagement on your actual posts, right? And so the first little hack that we're going to discuss is actually where to put your hashtags, right? And so, if you use Instagram, generally you might put the hashtags, in the hashtag area, but this is not the correct way to do it, right? So actually the best way to do it is to put your hashtags as the first comment, really because it's all about timing with Instagram. Instagram actually values the speed and how fast people are interacting with the image you post on the explore page. So if we see here, right, if we're looking at the post, we see top posts, and there's something very significant here about the number of top posts we see, right? 3, 6, 9. So we see 9 we see 9 different photos here, and then it transitions into most recent. So we can see a big disparity here. We see almost 8,000 likes here, and then most recent, we see 1 like. So these are people who are kind of putting themselves out there for the hashtag money, hashtag. Wow, I said hashtag a lot there, but for the hashtag of money, right? These are people who may not have, this type of followings that these other people have, right? But they're trying to grow their post, and Instagram is doing what it can to kind of show their post to as many people as possible. So if you do, make the hashtag money, and you do, put all of your hashtags into your top comment, and it is, a beautiful car like this, or a quote that resonates with people, and you start to get a lot of likes from the explore page, then you can move up into the coveted top 9 spots. And we're going to talk about how to get your photos into the top 9 spots, and that is the key to growing your Instagram following the fastest, right? So let's talk about how to actually make some of these things. So if you don't have a graphic artist team, or somebody to actually make these photos for you and add these nice little quotes with your brand, right? There's 2 ways to go about doing it. You can actually hire someone, again, from Upwork. We can come here and we can go to we can just go to graphic artist or graphic designer. And, again, we can go through the filters, right? I'm not going to show it all again. We can go through the filters. We can find people in our price range, that have very high chances of success. We can hire them, and they can make our Instagram photos for us, right? And again, actually, the people that I use to run, my Instagram presence for, all the different accounts that I manage, I actually have them not only manage and promote the accounts, but they do the graphic design work also, right? So it is possible to find kind of that dual, win-win. But if you do want to make it yourself, I use a cool little website called Canva. And so what Canva is it's free, and it's definitely the best and easiest way to make graphics as far as if you have no experience with graphic design. So it's completely free unless you want to use some of their premium features. There's a ton of tutorials on how to, make, how to use Canva. Wow, this is actually really fun. how to use Canva to make these eye-catching graphics. And again, you don't need to guess is what's working here. Really, you just look at the people who are successful and and replicate what they're doing. Obviously quotes do very well on Instagram, with pictures with nice lighting and a nice photo of Gary. And things like that, right? And so we can again look at these big volume posts, like 23 million for entrepreneur here, and we can see what's working, right? Helicopters, Sylvester Stallone, again with the quotes here, Liam Neeson quotes, right? A beautiful picture of a beach, excuse me. So replicate what is working. Another way that we can do it is by repurposing content. So if you are familiar with Instagram, you'll kind of notice that a lot of the large accounts kind of repurpose content because it is very hard to make content, so much content that you're posting 3 original pieces of content that are going to perform well and are beautiful photos and things like that every single day. And so what people do is they repurpose content. And people might say, yeah, but you can't use it because it's other people's, right? But if you're giving them credit, right, and you are, giving their username with the @, then realistically it's actually promoting their page more so than if you hadn't done it. And so it's okay, but just definitely go ahead and give them credit because it is their original content, or it might actually they might have repurposed it from someone else. But either way, give them credit, right? But it's okay because you're giving them some rep by posting their stuff. I see people all the time with affiliate marketing Instagram profiles where basically they repurpose like makeup video tutorials, and they just download it and they upload it to their own. They credit the original author, and they say like, check out this amazing makeup line, and then they use their own affiliate links. And Instagram has an incredibly complicated algorithm of how it decides who to show what to. And realistically, guys, all it takes is one of your posts to go viral if you're affiliate marketing, or however you're actually trying to monetize your Instagram presence. All it takes is one of your posts to go viral for you to make a ton of money. So using beautiful, proven, repurposed content, as long as you give them credit, right, and you're tagging them, is just fine. Right? And so another thing that I want to mention really quick is mentioning other handles, right? And so we were just talking about, if you are repurposing content, to mention that user's handle, to give them credit and say, credit to Gary Vaynerchuk for this photo, shout out to Gary, he's one of the best in the game, or whatever you're going to say. But mentioning other handles in your caption, regardless of if it is repurposed content, even if it's original content for you, according to Sprout, right, mentioning another handle in your actual Instagram post increases your engagement 56%. So let's think about why that would make sense from Instagram's perspective to give you so much more engagement for mentioning other people, right? Because at the end of the day, what is Instagram? Instagram is a social network, right? And so the more people that you're actually mentioning their handle, the more people that you're involving and creating a community, the more time that people are going to spend on Instagram. And the more time people spend on Instagram, the more money Lord Zuckerberg makes, right? Because you're going to see more advertisements. And remember, guys, you don't have to be, besties with these people to mention their handles in the post that you make. So something that I like to do when I did have smaller Instagram accounts before I started growing them is that I would actually mention other people's handles of successful people in the niche that I was going after, right? So when I was building, an old entrepreneurship page, I would actually mention, Tim Ferriss or Tony Robbins or whatever in the post that I was making, even though, obviously I didn't, and I don't know them still, but at the time I didn't know them either. But when you mention other large accounts that have big followings, people could potentially be searching for their name or, for the hashtag, and you could actually show up on the Explore screen for those specific terms. So the next little trick that I want to talk about for increasing engagement is geotagging your photos, right? And so according to some social media analytics companies out there, geotagging your photos actually increases your engagement by up to 77%. And a good thing to remember is, I don't want to, maybe people are saying, I don't want to geotag my photos because then Instagram knows everything about me. Instagram still knows everything about you. Even if you don't geotag your photos, Instagram is actually still saving the location information. So you guys, you might as well geotag. Even if you can get a 1% increase in engagement, it takes 1 second to geotag your photos. So go ahead and do it. The next hack I want to talk about really quickly is the color blue. And I know that might seem strange, But out of millions and billions of different photos out there that are posted on Instagram, right, analytics companies that deal with social media, specifically Instagram, have found that the color blue has 24% more clicks than any other color on Instagram. So, whether that means that people love the ocean or sky, or maybe the color blue contrasts against other colors on Instagram, or whatever the case may be, right? Use what works, guys. And if it's as simple as, finding material that has more blue tones, or at least, every once in a while featuring it, then it's an easy way to kind of increase your follows and increase your engagement, right? And so another thing that I like to do is go to Pinterest. And you can actually search Instagram themes. And so searching Instagram themes is one little way that you can kind of, get past what is like a mental block, right? For me, like, I'm not hugely artistic when it comes to like Instagram themes and photography and things like that. And so, Instagram theme. And so we can see here when we type this, what people are making work. So, this is a beautiful theme. You can talk about the best filters for travel, for the travel niche, or, there's all types of information that you can get here for how to actually, create the general theme for your Instagram profile. And I don't mean like, MySpace when you're like creating your background and putting like your song or whatever back in the day. I mean like the overall theme and feeling and like ambiance of your overall Instagram page, right? So when you start to look at some of the, popular people out there, whether it's like models or whatever, you can kind of start to see that they have a general theme of what their photos look like for the most part, whether it's, colors or filters, or, where they put their quote text or the type of text, right? You'll start to see and you'll start to feel like very comfortable looking at the overall totality of their content, because if they have a super crazy like black picture here and white there with all these different fonts and everything's like all backwards, your brain subconsciously notices that, right? People like symmetric type content. So you want to establish a theme early for your Instagram account, and Pinterest gives you a good way to kind of, find that in an easy way. So the coveted top 9. So how to get there and how to stay there and explode your account the fastest, right? So the coveted top 9 for any specific, like business. We see 24 million views here, or 24 million posts here. And we see that the top 9 have significantly more likes, right? So 3,000 likes when there's 0 here. So how do we get into the top 9? So that is a complicated question. And if there is enough interest from you guys who are watching this right now, I will make a video exactly on how to get into the top 9 top posts, to get from the most recent into the top post. And that is really how you grow your account the fastest, guys. That is the biggest secret to Instagram. So if you guys are interested, leave a comment below saying, I want to learn about the top posts, and I will make that for you guys. All right, let's have a little quiz while we're at it. So out of all of the things that we've talked about, right, whether it's building engagement, posting content, right, getting followers, growing a huge passionate audience, what is the single most important thing that you have to do as an Instagrammer to grow a passionate, right, targeted audience who's actually engaged in your content? We're not talking about bots. We're not talking about people who just follow you and unfollow you and forget about it. We're talking about people who actually care about what you're posting and who are interested in both you and, if they're interested in you, then inherently they're interested in what you have to sell, whether it's a product or service or lifestyle or whatever it is, right? So what is the one single most important thing that you need to master in order to grow a huge passionate Instagram following? So that is the quiz question. Pause the video if you want, leave a comment down below, right? The whole purpose of all of this is to learn, and the best way to learn is to, to guess and figure it out and kind of, grow and evolve as far as Instagram knowledge. So let's move on. We are going to talk about how to find influencers. So, for the people out there who are selling products or services, right? The easiest way to actually get your product, immediate sales for it, is not building a following, right? That's kind of the long term. It is the most profitable in the long term if you do it successfully and you follow these methods. But if you do want those immediate sales now, the best way to do it is using Influencers. So influencer marketing has really gained a lot of steam recently, mostly for the fact that realistically you're just piggybacking on the kind of success and the hard work that people have put in to build niche targeted audiences, right? So if you're doing your targeting correctly and identifying influencers in your specific niche, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether you're selling cat stuff, or it doesn't matter, whatever it is, right? If you do your research up front and find the right influencer, then you know for sure that they're, 10,000, 100,000, million, whatever it is, following is going to be interested in what you have to sell, right? Because if I'm targeting an entrepreneurial influencer, right, I'm not going to be selling cat earrings. I'm going to be selling, a course on how to, travel the world and make six figures or whatever it is, right? So obviously your product has to match up with the influencer's following to really make the marketing worthwhile. And from my experience, every dollar that I have personally spent on Instagram influencer marketing has brought me about $6 back. So it's been a very good ROI for my influencer investments, but they've been very targeted and you have to do the work up front. So how to find influencers? Let's talk about it. So Google, right, a little website that many of you may have heard of, is the best aggregator of relevant information in the world. So why not piggyback on, what they, let's just search Google, what they actually are best at, right? And so if, let's say, for example, that we have a watch company, then the best way to go about finding, watch influencers would be to type men's, if you're selling a men's watch, or it could be men's watch Instagrammer. And so if we search this, then not only do we actually get direct links to Instagram accounts, right, and the direct links I've found to be quite relevant, but there are also aggregation articles, right? So the 10 Instagram accounts all watch lovers should follow, or the best Instagram watch accounts in the world, right? And so we can go through all of these different ones. And if we're selling in the UK, maybe we're looking for the UK, it doesn't matter, right? And so we go through these, we take a look at the top 10 articles, and maybe we'd open all of these, right? And we'd see which of them were most relevant to us or to our specific needs, right? And we see a 2.1 million followers here, daily watch. They just show one beautiful watch every day, right? And I'm sure that they have affiliate links to these watch, these watch sellers. And so then we'd go through and we'd look at all of these different ones. We'd find the range of followers that we were interested in, right? And we are going to talk about, what you can expect from a cost perspective for the number of followers, because obviously the more followers they have and the more engaged and interested and interacting those followers are, the more expensive an influencer marketing campaign with this specific company is going to be. So another way, again, is to use the Instagram search feature. So I think people get hung up on, how am I going to find the right influencer? I do want to do influencer marketing, but I just don't know how to find them. The Instagram search bar is a huge resource. And so, if we're going to do this, maybe we would type #watch or watches, right? And we see 7 million posts. And then we can go through, and we can look through, maybe this one, that one, here, right? Go through all of these different ones. We see this person, they don't seem to be watch specific, so maybe we might skip that. Your Men's Style, right? 28,000 followers. So when you have somebody who has less than 100,000 followers, they're not going to have real rates, right? So if you have somebody who's less than $100,000, you might be able to just give them $20 and they might run your ad. So it depends on how many people you're trying to reach, right? And so we're gonna look through all of these. We see another 28,000 here, right? And so we can go back, see. We'll check the other one. Men's like, right? 573,000 here. What us men like. And so we see a lot of different things here, beautiful photos, right? Cars, all this stuff. So this might be one that you'd expect to be a little bit more expensive. As what I've found is anybody over, 100 to 150,000 followers kind of tends to be more of an asshole about, their pricing. And you're going to see some wildly different pricing schemes after you do kind of break that 100,000 follower threshold. You're going to get people who say, $100, $150, which is a reasonable price, right? In that range between 50 50 and 150, depending on their engagement rates, which we will talk about in a second. But once you get over that 100,000 mark and you get more into the 500, to a million mark, you can see people saying, $10,000 for a post. And sometimes it might be worth it, but depending on what level you're at for your business, most people are not going to invest $10,000 into an Instagram post if they don't know for sure whether or not that's going to bring them back, a positive ROI. So that is how I like to use the Instagram search bar. Another way that people do like to, do Instagram influencer research is using a website called Thomason. So Thomason is an influencer marketing website, right? They're kind of the leader in this area. I have found that they are generally a bit too spammy and expensive now, and they don't do a great job of aggregating this data in a way that I actually like to see. And so instead, I use what's called Hyper Brands. And so Hyper Brands is kind of a similar thing, real-time social analytics for every influencer in the world, right? So Hyper Brands not only kind of provides what Thomason does, but they show you real analytics as far as the influencers that you're reaching. So some of the things that you're wanting to look for are like to follower ratio, right? And so let's go ahead and calculate that because it can sound a little bit intense. So we're going to use my favorite example here, Gary Vee, right? So this was posted 4 hours ago, so it's a little bit too young for us to actually kind of take a look at. And so let's choose a photo that is. So this one's 1 day old, right? So what should people do? And so we see, so that's also a video. Let's try to find a photo. You see a photo here. This is 2 days old, so it's not an exact science. And so we do see about 22,000 likes here. And if we were gonna invest like a fair amount of money, we'd want to take kind of an average of these, right? We see 42,000 likes here. We see 45,000, right? So we'd want to take an average, but we're just going to use this as a simple example, right? So 22,000 likes, and he has about 2.3 million followers. So we're going to do, 23,000 likes divided by 2.3 million, right? And so that's about a 1% like to follower ratio, which is one of the metrics that I like to use when I'm evaluating influencers and whether or not they actually have engagement, right? So if they have 2.3 million followers and they have 1 like on their photo, then obviously, most of those 2.3 million followers are bots or they don't care, or, it's just not something that would be worth paying for. So generally, and this is not a steadfast rule, but I like to look for 3 to 5% like to follower ratio. Anything above 5% is quite good, right? It means that they really have an engaged audience. And we only looked at one of his pictures. Maybe if we did it the same thing for these, we'd see something different. But generally, I like to use posts that are 1 to 2 days old, and I just basically divide the number of likes that post has by the number of followers to get a like to follower ratio, which is a pretty good kind of determinant from a real analytical standpoint of how engaged their actual audience is. And the more engaged their audience is, obviously, the more valuable to you as somebody who's purchasing influencer marketing, right, the campaign is going to be. So Hyper Brands actually does that for you. Right, you can search influencers by name or type in keywords or areas of interest, and they'll show you all of the analytics as far as like to follower ratio and pretty much everything you could possibly want. And again, they do have a free trial, so don't get turned off by the fact that it is a paid platform. You can get a ton of data from the free trial. Right, and so how do we actually track whether or not our influencer marketing campaigns are profitable, right? So let's talk about what we would actually be using these influencer marketing campaigns for. So normally, you'd be selling a product. So let's take a look at, some big profile, right? So Dan Bilzerian, for those of you who don't know, he's kind of like a, bachelor who has photos of, army stuff and beautiful women and just doing a bunch of, stereotypically manly things. And so let's take a look. So this is very, okay, so here we go. So I made a vape line because being around cigarettes is intolerable, right? So he's promoting his own vape line. But we do see all the time, right, whether it's like model accounts or fitness accounts, they'll be promoting, healthy tea or whatever, right? And so they're not necessarily the ones who are actually creating those brands, but they just have these huge followings of people who are very interested in what they're doing with their day-to-day lives and things like that. And so they're actually going to be purchasing that tea. And so, what people are actually doing with this influencer marketing is it's basically like spending $1 on a Facebook ad or spending $1 on influencer marketing. You're still marketing your product, hoping to get sales, more dollars in sales than you spend on advertising. So how do we actually track that? So the best way to track affiliate marketing sales from your influencer campaign is using affiliate links or Google shortened links. So we can go to Google link shortener, right? And what we can see here is every time you make a link here, we can see that it tells you how many clicks, right? And so if you're selling, let's say for example, like an affiliate product, like your affiliate marketing using Amazon affiliate for some product, right? It'll actually tell you exactly how many sales that specific link generated, right? And so if you're doing it this way, then what I've seen people do a lot of times is it'll say like, here, let's go back to Dan, let's see if he's doing it. So if we go to Discount Vapor here, we see it's his, right? But a lot of times we can see people who say like, head over to this website and use the link like Dan B for an extra 10% off, right? And so then if they use that specific discount code, then you can actually get the analytics. Okay, I did this influencer marketing campaign, and we can see that every single person, right? Because no one in their right mind is not going to use a 10 or 20% discount code, right? And so we can tell for sure that every single person who used the code DANB when they purchased actually, did so from that influencer marketing campaign, because we're making that coupon specific for that influencer marketing campaign, so we can actually calculate our ROI, right? So using Google shortened link to count the number of links, or using affiliate links, or creating a custom coupon code so we can actually track the return on investment of our influencer marketing. And if you haven't already, ninjas, make sure you click that subscribe button. And if you want to be up to date on all of the new That Lifestyle Ninja videos on how to make money online, click those notification bells. And I want you to do one last thing. Go down below and leave a comment saying I subscribe, so I know that you guys are all in on making money on the internet. And then the last thing that I want to talk about from a shout out or influencer marketing perspective is a website called Shoutcart. And so what Shoutcart is it's basically a way to take the friction and the unknowns out of influencer marketing. So a lot of things that kind of turn people off to influencer marketing is, I don't know what the price is going to be, right? I don't know, how to find influencers. And we just went over how to find influencers, but still kind of, all the prices can be very different, like I mentioned before. And so Shoutcart really takes the unknown, elements out of, the search for an influencer marketing. So let's, for example, say that we're, starting a brand new, super exclusive cat jewelry brand, right? So we'd search cat, influencer type, right? Instagram, Twitter, categories, whether it's humor or whatever the case may be, we can only look for specific quotes and it'll refresh every single time, right? Or we can look for people in a specific follower range. Maybe we're looking, for people who are above, or maybe like 60K to 900K. And then we could, search cat, right? So now we'll see, now we'll see, a number of accounts. Oh, it reset the followers. So let's go 600K. 60K to 600K. All right, and so now we'll see all the people who are between 60K and 600K for cat relevant topics. And so we can look at the prices. We have to log in and register and make an account, but we can look at the prices, right? And we can register for free. Again, all of these services normally have free trials, and so this really does take kind of the ambiguity out of the process, right? So if we register a free account, all of a sudden now we can search anything, whether it's cat, maybe it's dog, and we're looking at cute dogs and puppies, right? All of these different people, we can see exactly how many followers we have. We can see analytics regarding the score of their engagement, right? And once we make a free account, we can see the pricing absolutely for free. And then we can reach out to all of these different people, see who kind of fits our profile the best. And from there, realistically, it makes it so much easier to actually really, like, it takes the negotiation and kind of some of the awkward parts that people really don't like out of, influencer marketing. So now let's talk about how people are actually making money on Instagram, right? And so we'll use my Instagram as an example. So this is one that I recently just restarted for Official Kevin David, which is, I guess my brand and who I am. And so how people are actually making money with Instagram is in a variety of ways. So one of the main ways is affiliate marketing. So this means selling someone else's product, and every time you generate a sale for them, they are giving you some percentage of that sale, whether, the affiliate percentage is 50%, or in Amazon's case, like 4 to 8%, or, if you are affiliate marketing for my course, it's between 25 and 50%, right? Depending on what promotions I'm running. So, if you get one person to click my course link right through your affiliate link, you can immediately make $500, right? So that's pretty darn good when it comes to, maybe following 10 people who are interested in entrepreneurship, or 100 people, or 1,000 people, and it takes you an hour, right? If one of those 1,000 people, right, which is a 0.1% conversion rate, if one of those 1,000 people who are interested in entrepreneurship are interested in my course or Amazon FBA, or, whatever the case may be for whatever your affiliate marketing, you can make a really serious amount of money quite quickly without actually creating any products of your own, or holding any inventory, or any upfront capital as far as actually creating that business, right? So affiliate marketing is a great way for people who are kind of just starting out, or for people who have large followings, or who have more time rather than more money to kind of get started. Right, and so you can use Instagram, the bio link, to drive people directly to a ClickFunnels page. And so the ClickFunnels page is a great little landing page for people who are interested in a free Amazon FBA course, or whatever the case may be. Whether you're driving them to an Amazon page, you can use your Amazon Associates link, and you can drive people directly to a product, right? And so then if somebody clicks on your Amazon affiliate link from your Instagram profile, right? Maybe you have a dog niche, and you're driving people to your favorite LED dog collar or something like that, right? So every time that you bring someone from Instagram to your affiliate link, and they actually make a purchase on Amazon, you are getting a percentage of that sale. Right, and so those are kind of the two of the main ways that people use Instagram to make money. Max Bounty is another kind of alternative to Amazon for affiliate marketing. They have other types of products. Similarly, you can do merchandise, right? So you can see that a lot of the big kind of YouTube stars and Instagram's, people who are popular on Instagram use merchandise, right? And so if we look at some of these people who have 17 million followers, for example, 100,000 likes on that, it's pretty ridiculous, right? And so these people, they have their own clothing lines, and whether they're actually promoting their YouTube channels to try to get people on multiple different platforms for as far as following them, or they're trying to drive people to their merchandising stores. Another way that people like to make money on Instagram is using merchandise. So, and merchandise is very easy. You can use like T-Launch and Shopify to get a full-fledged t-shirt business up in literally an hour, and you don't actually have to make any of the t-shirts or purchase any of the t-shirts before you get a sale. The beauty about T-Launch and a ton of other competitors now, Merch by Amazon, is that you don't actually do anything or pay anything until you get a sale, right? So you could make a merchandising store that says like Trump is awesome, or Trump is the worst, or whatever, right? So you want to, target polarizing topics that people have very strong feelings about. And, I can make a whole YouTube video about creating a t-shirt store, right? Because it was one of the first ways that I used to make money online. But once you kind of do create those polarizing topics, and all you have to do is create the graphic. You make a T-Launch store with Shopify. It takes you an hour. It's the easiest thing in the world, right? Just YouTube, how to make a T-Launch store with Shopify. Once you do that, all you have to do is upload your design, and then whenever someone buys your shirt, then they make it, right? So somebody buys it for $20, it costs you $9 to make it, right? And you are making that $11 profit, right? So that's why you see all of these big, people with these huge followings, you see them creating their own merchandising stores, because it takes no upfront investment, and all it literally is doing is just printing money for them, right? And so another thing that I want to talk about really quickly with that is the people who are making the most money, right? Even if you don't have a huge following with merchandise, are those who, who recognize virality, right, and trends, whether it's like, when Trump said that Kofi fee thing, I saw all these shirts pop up on my Facebook feed and advertising and on Amazon and things like that, making fun of that, or whether or not how you feel about Trump, it doesn't really matter, right? But he is extremely polar. People either love him or hate him, and using that, polarity mixed with, world events and what's trending, those are the people who are actually, taking advantage of these super popular things that people are searching on Instagram, and then they make merch for it. Literally, they're just creating like a $5 design with a graphic artist on Fiverr or Upwork of some, up and coming, cool, trending, popular thing, and then they're actually creating those designs, uploading them to their T-Launch stores, which is literally like a click of a button, and then all of a sudden they're profiting on these trending and popular searches that are otherwise getting organic searches on Instagram. And the people who do this the fastest and do this the best with the best designs, right, are getting huge amounts of organic sales from Instagram just from people searching about those topics that they'd otherwise already be searching, right? So let's go over the answer to the quiz, right? What is the most important actually, portion of building an Instagram audience? And the answer, guys, is interaction, right? Instagram is a social media website. People want to interact. People want to feel like they're part of something, part of a club, part of a movement, whether they're trying to lose weight or whether they're trying to make more money or whether they want to travel, right? The things that interest people is forming community. So really, guys, what you have to do is interact with your followers. And whether that means going out and finding people who are interested in the same things as you, similar to how I showed you earlier in the video, or, following people that you like and interacting with people in the comments, right? The more that you interact and the more that you have genuine, real interaction with people, people are going to notice, guys, and they're going to reciprocate that. So interaction is the key to building a super passionate following on Instagram. And it does take time, guys, but there is a huge opportunity, and it's very easy to incorporate this in your business. It does not matter if you're selling a product or a service or affiliate marketing, right? Instagram is a huge platform that is used by millions and millions of people every single month. So I hope that helped, guys. If you did like this, please do make sure that you do subscribe to That Lifestyle Ninja and to me, because I really appreciate it. I'm creating all these videos for you guys completely for free, and all I ask is that you stay a part of the family, right? Click that subscribe button, hit those notification bells, and we absolutely promise you that we're going to continue bringing you the absolute best content for making money online, guys. So we will definitely see you next time, and stay hustling. You make me